provincial government to stop the construction of a planned prison on the grounds of the former Kemptville Agricultural College. The two applicants, Kemptville residents Victor Lachance from CAPP, the Coalition Against the Proposed Prison, and Kirk Albert from JOG, the jail opposition group, will be speaking today, as well as their lawyer, Stéphane and Émard-Chabot. Cette conférence de presse sera principalement en anglais, mais bien sûr, on vous invite de poser vos questions soit en anglais ou en français. Before turning the mic over to our speakers, I want to provide a bit of context to what is taking place today and why these actions were necessary. In the 2 years since the government made the surprise announcement of their proposed prison plan in August of 2020, both residents and experts have raised many concerns. I'll highlight just a few. Freedom of Information requests reveal that Kemptville does not meet the Ministry of Solicitor General's own criteria for a prison site. Most individuals that would be incarcerated at Kemptville will be from Ottawa. They will have difficulty maintaining relationships with their families and community supports in a town without public transportation and without support services essential to their safe return to their home communities. For close to 2 years, provincial government officials and the MPP for North Grenville have continually claimed there will be economic benefits from this project. Yet they have not presented any evidence or economic analysis to support this. And their claims go against independent subject matter experts who have studied prison construction for many years. The specific site selected is also highly problematic. Paving over high-quality arable land in the context of rising food insecurity and climate catastrophe is short-sighted and illogical. There are much better ways to make use of this land that would actually contribute to the revitalization of regional food systems and the surrounding communities. This would start with meaningful partnership with Indigenous peoples of these territories. A new farmer training or incubator farm site, perhaps. A community orchard or food bank farm. A research site for locally adapted climate resilient seed varieties. It is clear that imprisonment is the most costly and least effective way to enhance community well-being and safety. It will cost up to $499 million over the life of the 30-year public-private partnership to design, build, finance, and maintain the Kemptville prison. There would be no need for a prison at all if the provincial government fixed the bail and remand system. As of June 2022, 75% of people in Ontario prisons are awaiting their day in court or sentencing. During the first wave of the COVID pandemic, Ontario's prison population was reduced by 30%, showing that carceral expansion is not inevitable, it is a choice, and we can choose otherwise. Since the surprise announcement in August 2020, numerous actions have been taken to try and get the government to listen to these concerns, to no avail. These include marches, rallies, community forums led by Kemptville residents and North Grenville residents. These were followed by information flyers, op-eds, and a growing stream of letters to the provincial government. No prison and save the farmland signs now dot the landscape in and around Kemptville. Local residents also engaged in research and filed Freedom of Information requests to fully understand the costs that would be borne by local residents and to try and understand the government's decision-making process. However, the government does not appear interested in releasing this information. North Grenville MPP Steve Clark went so far as to try and use Elections Ontario to silence his own constituents who were speaking out about the proposed prison. I said earlier that the selected site was problematic. Based on new legal research, it's clear the plan to build a prison on the former Kemptville Agricultural College lands is not just problematic, it is also illegal. Which brings us to today's important legal action. I will now turn the floor over to lawyer Stéphane Émard-Chabot from the law firm Sicotte Guilbault on behalf of his clients, Victor Lachance and Kirk Albert. After Stéphane, we'll hear from both Victor and Kirk, and we'll have an opportunity for question and answers. Stéphane.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning. Bonjour. My name is Stéphane Émard-Chabot, and I have been retained by Victor Lachance and Kirk Albert in this matter. as community leaders in Kemptville opposed to the provincial prison project. A few moments ago, on behalf of Kirk and Victor, I filed an application for judicial review asking the Divisional Court to rule on the legality of the Solicitor General's decision to build a prison on the Kemptville farmlands. Our legal position is straightforward, and it rests on three grounds. First, a violation of the government's own provincial policy statement. The policy statement, or PPP, is a provincial regulation that applies to everyone, from local municipal councils to tribunals to government agencies and boards, and to cabinet ministers themselves. The PPP sets out protections and guidelines for a host of planning issues in Ontario. And not surprisingly, there's a whole chapter on the preservation of agricultural resources, and the PPP puts strict guidelines on how and when non-agricultural uses can be put into prime agricultural resources. In deciding to build the prison at the Kemptville farmland site, the Solicitor General is essentially ignoring the provincial policy statement, and in doing so, he's overstepping his legal authority. The second argument is also under the Planning Act, which provides that cabinet ministers must have regard for local planning policies. The North Grenville official plan designates this site as agricultural. The reason for that is because it is prime farmland, class 2 soil under the Canadian inventory. And there are a host of other policies that are not being respected. This also constitutes a violation of the minister's obligations under law and an overstepping of his legal authority. The third ground is simply that the Planning Act requires the minister to consult with the local municipality before making a decision of this kind. This has not taken place. So for all these three reasons, Kirk and Victor are going to court, asking the court to confirm the illegal nature of the decision, asking the court to quash or overturn the selection of the Kemptville site, and asking the court to issue a prohibition order preventing the construction of a jail at this location. If you compare what has gone on in Kemptville with the years of consultation by the province over the new hospital site in Ottawa, the contrast could not be starker. That is why we are going to court. That is why we're asking justices of the Divisional Court to rule on the legality of the government's actions. I'll be happy to take questions after the press conference, and now we'll turn the microphone over to Kirk Albert.
Thank you, Stéphane. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Bonjour à tous. My name is Kirk Albert, and I'm a member of the Jail Opposition Group, JOG for short, a community group of concerned residents from the town of Kemptville, Ontario, which formed in the days following the August 2020 surprise provincial government announcement made in Brockville, Ontario, regarding the plan to build a prison in Kemptville. The plan was made without any consultation or involvement of our local government or the town's residents. Kemptville, it was announced, was to be the home to the new Greater Ottawa Correctional Complex, a name that they subsequently changed to the Eastern Ontario Correctional Complex. This was news that shocked our community and led to the formation of our group, which had a primary focus to seek facts related to the provincial announcement and to inform our town's residents of these details so that they would be equipped to make informed decisions about the plan. I can assure you this was no easy task based on the fact that the announcement came in the midst of the pandemic, and what little information was provided by the province was contradictory in many cases or lacking important detail. Repeated requests for details to from the Ministry of the Solicitor General, Infrastructure Ontario, and the Ministry of Agricultural, Food and Rural Affairs were made by residents, CAPP, JOG, and other partner organizations through direct correspondence, and even multiple Freedom of Information requests were submitted when we felt we had no other option. Our questions were simply not being answered. Our requests focused on fundamental aspects of this project, a project they had been actively engaged in since May of 2017. Questions about the site selection process and criteria, touted economic benefits, taxation implications, infrastructure demands, and due diligence results. Even after 2 years since the announcement, the lack of response from the provincial bodies is perplexing and quite frankly disappointing, as we were told on several occasions following their announcement that the transparency and inclusion with the town's residents was of paramount concern. To this day, substantive information about its site selection process and its decision to pave over valuable farmland in Kemptville for a prison has not been provided. In part, that is why we are here today. From many perspectives, the province has failed in its commitments to our local government and our fellow residents. This is clear. The judicial review process that has commenced today will be supported by many in our town and beyond, and we hope this includes the North Grenville Municipal Council in an effort to not only save the entirety of the agricultural land where the facility is to be built, but also save the green and growing vision for Kemptville and the municipality of North Grenville that they themselves championed for the community. At a time when we need forward-thinking government and strong leadership more than ever, it's critical that the province reconsider its priorities and where best to spend valuable tax dollars. Not addressing recurring issues in the criminal justice and correctional systems and not prioritizing the preservation of valuable farmland lacks the foresight that many expect in this province. Thank you.
Bonjour, mon nom est Victor Lachance et je suis membre de la coalition contre le projet de prison à Kemptville. Kirk, Albert, and I initiated this initiative on behalf of the residents of North Grenville and Kemptville, as well as community organizations and agri-food groups who have all been very frustrated at the province's refusal to look at and to respond to the many questions and concerns that have been raised about this ill-conceived project. Their heavy-handed approach has actually left our municipal council unable to get the information that they need and that we need in order to make informed decisions about this plan. And in light of food insecurity and climate crisis, there is no justification for paving over arable farmland and bulldozing existing farm buildings to build a prison that no one asked for and the experts tell us we do not need. En effet, l'argent devrait servir à aider nos agriculteurs et nos communautés au lieu de bâtir des cages pour les autochtones, les personnes de couleur, les gens qui souffrent de maladies mentales et les toxicomanes, qui d'ailleurs, les deux derniers, sont des problèmes de santé et non des problèmes de nature carcérale. So yes, we've taken a very serious step today, but this need not be a drawn-out process. That is why we are calling on the Solicitor General Michael Kersner, the Attorney General Doug Downey, the Minister of Infrastructure Kinga Surma, of course our Minister of Agriculture Lisa Thompson, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, our own MPP Steve Clark, and even the Minister of Finance, Peter Bethlen Falvey, to individually or collectively look at the grounds for the application for judicial review and agree that they should not proceed with this prison plan. It's not too late to change course, and if they do, well, we'll congratulate them. So thank you very much.